Hello and welcome to Account of Stewardship. This is the program that we get to x-ray our past and current leaders on their stewardship, leaders in the private and public service. So today our focus is on legal profession, and we have a frontliner in the house, a man who has been of service to his community and humanity. He is a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria, a philanthropist, an activist, an author of several books, and a recipient of several awards. Please welcome Professor Yusuf Ali.
Thank you for having me once again.
This is a continuation of our last conversation with you, and we felt there were quite a few omissions that we had to address. We'd like to spotlight, especially this week, on the anatomy of corruption, one of the several books you have written, to give us an insight into why and how you had to write a book on the anatomy of corruption in Nigeria.
Professor Yusuf Ali is the senior partner of Gallup Chambers with its headquarters in Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State in north-central Nigeria. He was born on September 7, 1956, to the family of Alhaji Bisiriyu Ali. He began his educational journey in a Quranic school before he was enrolled in a formal primary school in 1960. He attended Ibadan Boys High School and passed his school certificate examinations with flying colors. He worked briefly with the government of the old Oyo State before gaining admission to the University of Ife, now known as the Obafemi Awolowo University, in 1978. He graduated from the law faculty with a second-class upper degree. As an undergraduate, he won the prestigious Federal Merit Award and was a university scholar. He bagged a master's degree from the same university in 1991. Yusuf Ali worked with the law firm of Adegboyega Awomo and Co. from 1983 to 1994 and rose to become a partner before leaving to found Gallup Chambers. As an associate lecturer at the University of Ilorin, he delivered more than 300 papers on diverse topics at different fora. He is a contributor to several legal books and is an author in his own right. He is the author of the book Anatomy of Corruption in Nigeria: Issues, Challenges, and Solutions. He has more than 40 published articles in different law journals. Yusuf Ali is a philanthropist and has made several interventions in many public tertiary institutions, including the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, the University of Ilorin, Crescent University, Abeokuta in Ogun State, and the University of Ibadan, to mention a few. He has won hundreds of local and international awards and has been conferred with many fellowships, including those of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Dispute Resolution Institute, and the Society for Peace Studies and Practice, among others. He is a senior advocate of Nigeria with more than 30 years of practice under his belt. Yusuf Ali is our guest on this episode of Account of Stewardship.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Account of Stewardship, and we have as our guest Professor Yusuf Ali. We'd like to spotlight, especially this week, on the anatomy of corruption, one of the several books you have written, to give us an insight into why and how you had to write a book on the anatomy of corruption in Nigeria.
Now, I think that anybody who has followed the history of our country, since independence at least, we realize that one of the things that has held back the country, but the major thing that has held our country down, is corruption. It's corruption. And so, I believe that's my own little way, apart from living by example, I believe that's my own little way of contributing to the debate, to draw attention to the pernicious nature of corruption and its deleterious effect on our national life?
Give us an expose.
So many things. First and foremost, you will find that the thing is deep-seated. Number two, it covers all areas of our life, even including religions.
It's corruption then?
Yes. So, because it's so deep, and then the third thing and the sad thing is like we think that it's part of our culture now.
We have imbibed it as a culture.
So and you know the problem with abnormality is that if you practice it for long, it becomes normal. So we have gotten to that stage and to that point when it comes to the issue of corruption.
So what are the solutions you provide?
We provide a lot of solutions. Attitudinal change, reorientation, reappraisal of our value system, promotion of meritocracy, patriotism, a whole lot.
Bearing in mind that there's corruption in other countries as well. So if Nigeria's corruption is on that level, is it beyond redemption?
We are not beyond redemption, it's because we celebrate it, that's the problem. For example, growing up in those days, if you are traveling from one city or village to another in our country, if the vehicle, usually in those days used to be all these Paco vehicles, if the driver carried more than the allocated number of passengers, when he got signal that policemen or VIO or whoever were on the roads, about 500 meters at the corner before he would get to where they were stationed, he will ask the excess number of passengers to please get down. They will be encouraged to trek and use the back streets. And then they will come front to join the vehicle after he had passed through the checkpoint. But what do you see today? That was in those days. But what do you see today? You see situations where at roadblocks, not only will monies be changing hand, you see negotiations going on and change being given. So the celebration of corruption and the celebration of those who are corrupt, they are the problems we have. My solution, ab initio, was that they should just be given the Chinese treatment.
So what is the Chinese system?
Once you are convicted, you are sentenced to death. Because it's the crime of important people. It's like a white-collar crime. So, and people who are exposed to good life don't like to die. Unlike robbery. So, robbery is the crime of the low-level people. So, nobody will get deterred. But for people who have seen life, as it were, I'm sure many of them will run away.
So let's take the story of corruption. What's your recent book about?
We presented 2 books on the same day. One was on the right to fair hearing, which was titled The Supreme Court of Nigeria and the Jurisprudence of Right to Fair Hearing in Nigeria, which covered a period of from 1979 to 2023. The second one is on the public-private partnerships. That is the new thing in the world today. It has come to the realization of everybody that even the most advanced of all the countries can't mobilize enough public resources to provide public utilities and services like roads, railways, waterways. So, and they came up with public-private partnerships, in which case men and women in business who have the funds will come in to partner with government. Usually there will be an agreed period. They may say, okay, we provide the road from here to Lagos, 8 lanes on either side, with facilities and utilities on the way. You have people maybe every 50 kilometers, you have people can park, relax for 30 years, for example. You'll be collecting the tolls. But after 30 years, you yield it back to the government. And the first successful one we had in our country was the MM2. That's the airport built by Katine in Lagos. That was the first known PPP in our country.
Let's talk about you being a member of the body of benchers. What exactly does it mean?
The body of benchers is a creation of statute of law. It is made up of the men of the best distinction in the legal profession. The body plays 2-3 major roles Number one, it is the body that is responsible for call to bar of students who have passed their exams in the law school. Number two is the body that controls the legal practitioners disciplinary committee that tries lawyers for professional misconduct. And of course, it regulates the profession in other areas. It's made up of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, all the justices of the Supreme Court, the Attorney General of the Federation, all the Attorneys General of the states, the Chief Judges of all the states, Federal High Court, President of the Court of Appeal, and the presiding justice of the Division of the Court of Appeal. Also made up of 30 legal practitioners who have spent not less than 15 years in the profession, sponsored by the Nigerian Bar Association. And then, once we have spent some minimum number of years, based on certain criteria that is well known, you can become a live bencher. So once you become a live bencher, except you conduct yourself in an unprofessional way, you are there till you go away.
In our last edition, you mentioned that Gallup Chambers was going to be 30 years this year. So tell us about the story of Gallup Chambers.
Gallup Chambers started out on the 1st of June 1994 at a rented 3-bedroom apartment at Ibrahim Taiwo Road at Ilorin here. Of course, I'd been a lawyer for about 11 years before that time. I was working somewhere else. I started out alone. I was the only lawyer in the office. I had a secretary and a clerk. To the glory of God, that clerk of that time is now our deputy head of chambers in this office. Not only did he pass his exams, he eventually went to the university, read law, became a lawyer, and he's been a lawyer now for almost 20 years himself. This building we are in, we started the construction in 1999 of the first wing, 1999, and we moved in effectively in September 2001. At the time, the office grew to the level that we had more than 30 lawyers, and as I'm talking to you, we are almost 30. We have offices in Abuja. The office in Abuja started in 2001. We also started in a rented apartment. Eventually, we built our own office like we had in Ilorin here. So, the office in Ilorin and the office in Abuja are purposely built chambers. What we try to do is to invest in the profession. We look at the best of things that are available in chambers all over the world and try to replicate them here if we can. That's why we try to set up a state-of-the-art library. As at the last count, we had close to 14,000 volumes of books in this Ilorin office alone. The one in Abuja is quite different. We try to replicate most of the books here in Abuja as well. We started on the 1st of June. The first associate joined the office in October 1984. The second joined in November 1984. So for a number of years, the three of us were in the office until the office started to expand. Then we started to take in more people, more and more people, more and more people. And to the glory of God, the office had been quite lucky. We produce senior advocates who practice in this office who are now senior advocates. We produce high court judges so far, not one, not two, not three. And to the glory of God, we produce at least in this office about 6 professors, excluding myself. People who had passed through this office and who are now professors, full-fledged professors in Nigerian universities. There are others who have gone to do other things in which they are doing well as well.
What are your mentors?
There are many.
Okay, tell us.
Well, the man I started practice with, Asiwaju Adibegba Awomolo SAN, who currently is the chairman of the Board of Benchers, was the person under whose feet I cut my legal teeth in 1983. And I tried to look for people of excellence to mentor me and emulate the Chief Atunde SAN, former Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Ariafe Babalola SAN, the proprietor of Abua in Ado-Ekiti, Pa Kayode Shofola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. These were men who were very distinct in the way they practice law. So I try to, either remotely or directly, I try to be a mentee to persons like that.
So what about your mentees?
Well, we thank God. God has been very kind. We produce quite a number. All the ones I mentioned, judges, senior advocates of Nigeria, and there have been mentees that are direct and indirect as well.
Okay.
If I have to count the number of senior advocates that were indirect mentees, I can count at least 20.
Really? Wow.
Oh yes. I can count at least 20. And if I have to count the professors, they will be in tens, who have gone through here indirect, either directly or indirectly, whom God has used us to mentor. And a lot, some are doing very well in other areas of life, not necessarily in law, although they are lawyers.
Okay, can you tell us a key principle that has guided and sustained Gallic Chambers in the last 30 years?
The first thing is absolute faith in God. Like I say, absolute. That's why I tell people I'm an optimist, I'm not a pessimist. I always believe that God will solve any problem once you put your implicit confidence in Him. That's why those who know me think I don't have problems. I do. But I just submit them to God. I know I can't do anything by myself.
Okay.
I know it's only God. God is the foundation, the cornerstone of the practice we try to establish. And that is why we avoid things that are unethical or immoral in the way we practice. We are practicing not just because we want to make money. We also want to preserve names. We want to preserve honor. We want to preserve dignity. And we want to maintain integrity. And all those who pass through here, this message is sent to them directly, indirectly, by the way we also behave ourselves, the way we conduct ourselves. We try to impact some on many of them. And I'm happy to say that, and as you see, when the office is celebrated officially, there is a compendium we are putting together for the office. It will be well over 500 pages. You see some of the things, some of them, so those who have passed through the office in the past, those who are still here. You see some of our clients, you see some of our traditional rulers,
Wow.
what they will say about Gallic Chambers. And I think Fox Populi, Fox Day, the voice of the people is the voice of God.
Yes.
I think when you have access to that material, you will come to better judgment.
So going by your antecedents, a lot of philanthropy, a lot of education, a lot of healthcare contributions from your foundation. You seem to be building block by block. You're giving back to the society. Are we looking at a potential politician? Are you going to run for public office?
I pray to Allah every time not to bring me into politics. I pray to Him fervently. That's why I've resisted acceptance of purely political office. I don't want to have anything to do with politics other than being a lawyer to politicians. I do not have the talent for being a politician. I don't have the talent. It's not one of the talents that I've discovered that I have. So that's why I won't go near it. But anybody that I know that has the talent, who is close to me sufficiently, we encourage them. Because some people will have to run the affairs of the country, of the state, of the local government. So we encourage them. But my principle is whoever I want to encourage, I tell them all the time that they should know that this service must be for God.
So what advice do you have for young lawyers who are looking up to become like you?
But I hope anybody who wants to be like me will be able to make the sacrifices. I always advise our younger colleagues, if your eyes is on making quick money, don't come near this kind of business. Because there is no quick money. Like I always tell people, even in public presentations, I said, the only place you find the word wealth before work is in the dictionary. Work must be before wealth. And I always advise our colleagues, the first thing you need to build as a lawyer is a good reputation. Once you have a good reputation, one thing will follow the other, money will come. Build solid, irrefutable reputation as being honest, being diligent, being hardworking, having integrity, being transparent, and being godly. I think if you have those qualities, God doesn't cheat. Once you serve him that way, he will reward you.
You're also a recipient of several awards, over 300 awards, I was told. Wow, you must be the most decorated lawyer in recent times in Nigeria. How do you see those awards, and what is your response to people giving you so much awards?
They, incidentally, the Center for, I think Center for Computing and something in Kwara Polytechnic came here to come, and about 6 of them came, including their former deputy rector, to inform me that they are giving me an award on the 25th of June, by the grace of God. They said because years ago, I did an e-resource center for the Polytechnic here. And I told them when they came today, I said, you have compensated me already. Because in 2016, the immediate past governor and 2 industrialists and I were given fellowship of the Polytechnic. I said, you have given me my due, so I don't, but this is an extra. But I won't reject it. To the glory of God, I never solicited for any of these awards, and I never paid for anyone. I would just sit down here, and people will just come. In fact, incidentally, the vice chancellor of my alma mater called me not quite a week now, that there was something in the offering from my university, from my university, that they were going to give me something. So, for me, I think once you serve people, you serve God, and you serve humanity through God, he will reward you. He will reward you. So I thank all those who found me worthy for these various awards, which is over 300 now. Wow. From all over the world. This has been extended to me as far off as the US, Ghana, and other places. So, and without me lifting a finger, as it were. So I want to thank every person, and I also want to thank you too. Maybe interviews like this actually encourages people. They want to say, okay, who is this person?
So how do you see Garlic Chambers in the next 5 or 10 years?
My prayer is that this office will become a proper institution that will continue to exist and prosper even when I'm no more in active legal practice, or even when I pass on. I always tell people I'm trying to build an institution for humanity, not for my family. I have a daughter who is a lawyer, who has been a lawyer now for almost 15 years. She never practiced with me. She practices elsewhere. Because this office is not for Yusuf Ali family. It's for humanity. And that is why our library is accessible to every member of the public that wants to use it.
And let's wrap on account of stewardship. I'll be talking to Professor Yusuf Ali, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on to the program. You're a man of many parts. I just discovered today that he's also a farmer. He has a farm. Is it a commercial farm or normal farm?
Yeah, I have a farm. Yes. It started out of passion, you know.
Wow.
When there are things in your blood sometimes that compels you to do certain things. Yes. My great paternal grandmother was a Fulani woman. I discovered maybe the thing was in the blood. So I had passion to raise animal, especially cow. But it was not meant as a commercial, it was just out of interest at a point. But I think we are getting to a level now that we have to make it commercial. It's not only at my husbandry we're also doing normal farming. Last season, for example, we had we did soya bean, we did maize, we did millet. In our own little way. That's the way to go. Yes. A country that can't feed itself is not a country.
You've been an interviewer's delight. Thank you for coming on to the program and giving us an account of your stewardship. You just can unravel everything in a 2-edition interview. Because I also discovered today that he's a farmer. Prof, you've outdone yourself. Thank you so much once again for coming on to our program. My name is Mayowa Oluwabi. Till I come your way again, let's keep keeping our leaders accountable. Thank you for watching.